So, Sharon, tell me about this amazing, incredible Star Trek thing that's happening. I'm so excited about it.
Oh, the launch.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's so cool. Yeah, and the fact that Greg's ashes are going up is just, it's just I don't even have the word for it. We're so honored to be included. And Greg was a very shy, inscrutable, humble man. And he would be, I'm sure, completely bamboozled by how much attention he's getting, now that he's gone. On one hand, he would be, what the heck are you doing? Enough already. And on the other hand, I just think he would be um, so excited at doing this, and especially going up with the ashes of Doug Trumbull. Because when Doug died, it was a real gut punch for him. Um, and so the fact that he's being honored on the same flight, I think would just blow him away. He just would be so touched by it.
And how did all this come about? I mean, I talked a little bit to his son before, Jonathan, and I just wanted to know exactly what your take on how this all became about.
Oh, it was lovely. One of Greg's big dreams that he talked about literally for 45 years was he wanted to go up in an open air biplane. And for his either birthday or Christmas last year, two of his good friends and colleagues gave him a gift certificate to go up in a biplane. And he was so excited at it. And, and he kept saying to me, will you go up with me? Will you go up with me? And all I could think of is, that's about the last thing I really want to do. But he has a way of wearing people down. And I finally said, I'll make a deal. If the doctor says it's okay, if he signs off on it, I'll go up with you, hoping and assuming the doctor would never agree to it. So it was the safe thing to do. Um, but but after he passed, we realized that to be able to scatter his ashes from that biplane would make him so happy, that he finally got to go up. And so in the middle of us deciding that, Celestis reached out to Greg's family. And I was very lucky because I was one of the three people on the advance directive. So whatever, it was his wish that his two cousins and I worked together for whatever was going to happen from that point, once he was gone and during his medical care. They called me and said the offer had been made, and they said, what do you think? And I just thought, are you kidding? Like, that's much better than a biplane, right? So there was we were just all really thrilled and honored and grateful to them to make such an amazing offer available to us to honor him. So we are just extremely excited about it. And we know he would be too, humbly. He probably wouldn't say it, but he would be.
Absolutely. And what I love about it is this Star Trek reunion that's also happening. How did that come about? How did you get everybody to agree and say yes? And how did you choose who was going to show up?
Well, you mean to be on the flight?
Yes,
Because I
yes.
had, okay, we had nothing to do with it. I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
Celestis called Greg's family, who
Oh,
then
okay.
immediately
Got it.
called me, because the three of us were the ones to make the final decisions for him, which was his wish. And so it was when they called and asked us, we were just blown away by it and thrilled. And one of those things, would you consider it? And we're like, are you kidding? Heck yes, we're gonna have him do it. So that's how it happened.
That is absolutely amazing.
It
And
is.
when is this
It
all
is.
happening? That's what I'd like to know.
In terms of the flight,
Yes.
okay, well, I'm not actually involved in the planning of it. I know that there are some tentative ideas about when this thing will take flight, although I think we all know that it depends on so many things that they could set a date and it still could change 27 times. Um, but it's a 3-day event I mean, I forget exactly what happens, but the night before there's a dinner where families can speak or reminisce or talk about their loved one. Um, And so I think his page may already be up on the website as of today or yesterday, where you can actually find him and click on it. And there's a really a lovely video, like a 2.5 minute video about him, and also his bio and some pictures of him with his models. So that's the involvement that we have. We're not, Celeste tells us what they're doing, and we just are happy for it.
Nice.
I
And
mean,
how
the Celeste team is fantastic. The Celeste team is fantastic. And it's just, it's like the dream team. They answer quickly. They take care of everything. They're lovely. It's really amazing. What a
yeah, they
team.
sound pretty great. They absolutely sound amazing. I agree with you on that. And what are some of your favorite memories of, you said with Greg, what are some of your favorite memories?
Oh gosh, my favorite memories. You know what? Probably sitting with him for the Academy Awards, the two times he was nominated, and being able to be there. I mean, the first one we were sitting for Close Encounters, I was sitting between Greg and Doug Trumbull. And that to me, I mean, I was just out of grad school, a little kid from Morgantown, West Virginia, and there I was sitting between Greg Jean and Doug Trumbull at the Oscars. I mean, I think because that was the first time I was at the Oscars. I think that moment was really amazing. And, I mean, it was really this amazing thing where I was very good friends with Jack Haley Sr., who played the Wizard of Oz. And they had a gold Rolls Royce. And so his widow, Flo Haley, sent us over the chauffeur and the gold Rolls Royce. And that's how we got to I mean, it was just crazy. It was just one of those magical moments for someone who never dreamed they were gonna. I mean, I was a theater person. I was gonna stage manage great Broadway musicals, and somehow ended up instead, working in special effects. Thank goodness. And there I was. And so, and then we went the following year when he was nominated for 1941. So it was, I think those were really magical times. But the things that I savor the most are the relationship with his family from day one. The first time he took me home, um, I just sort of, everybody, his cousins, his aunts, his uncles, his parents became a part of my family, and my family coveted them as well. I mean, our parents remained friends for the rest of their days. And so I really covet that. And then also I was really fortunate because in the last couple years, as Greg's health was declining, I was the really lucky one because we all sort of took, I mean, his cousins were incredible as well. I mean, what they did, but because of my work schedule, I would go down when he was an inpatient at the hospital, which happened quite a bit in the last couple of years. I would go down every night after work and I would stay with him until he fell asleep, sometimes for weeks at a time. And those moments, those times that we had together where it was very quiet. I mean, the nurses were really kind. They never kicked me out when the hours were over. They let me stay till he fell asleep. Just to be able to talk about things that people kind of sort of don't talk about, and to really bare both our hearts and talk about the importance of things. And to me, I may treasure those, even though I hated seeing him not well. I think I covered those moments, and I feel like I'm the luckiest person on the planet to have been able to be there with him for the quiet times.
It's so beautiful. And I'm so glad that you have those memories and you had that time with him. It sounds like you had such an incredible bond, and that is such a beautiful thing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was pretty incredible. I mean, it's just, I think Greg was probably the kindest person. He was quirky, he was mischievous, but he had such a huge heart, and the talent embodied in that one container was just unbelievable. I mean, to watch him with his hands were miracles. They just made these miracles, and it was fascinating to watch those hands create things. I mean, I think that anyone who worked with him or knew him or loved him, and everybody, it seems like there were a cast of thousands who loved him, um, really just were marveled at the depth of his talent and the depth of his humanity. I was talking with a good friend who worked with him, who Greg was especially fond of, and I said, I don't remember Greg ever losing his temper. I never once remember him raising his voice. And he thought for me, and he said, me neither. And I mean,
Wow.
I knew Greg for 45 years. Bill knew him for probably 40 years or less than that, a little more than that. And we never heard it. And during the whole time when he was sick, never complained, no matter what was happening. He never complained. So he was
Wow.
pretty remarkable.
He does sound like a remarkable person, and he sounds like he was an incredible role model for so many people.
He gave so many people, including me, their first jobs in the industry. And they went on to become, award-winning special effects or scenic designers. And he's the one who hired them first and believed in them. And then also in 1977, 78, long before you were born, I was in the first group of 4 females who got into IATSE Local 44 as special effects technicians.
Oh my
Because
goodness.
Greg searched out and hired 4 women to be on that crew. And it was a very big deal. It was the very beginning of affirmative action. And that's how we ended up. And there were 4 of us. And we really broke the gender barriers because of him, because he was adamant about doing that.
Wow, I had no idea. I know people that work in special effects too, but I had no idea that you were one of the 4 that broke the mold for the women in the field. And gosh, I admire you even more now.
Oh, thank you. But it was Greg. Greg is the one
Oh
who,
yeah, but
no, Greg is the one who really pushed for it. And so, it's just, I could have cared less about, I was a theater snob. I was never going to work in movies. It was not even something I considered. And I didn't even know who Steven Spielberg was, honestly. I was just out of graduate school in theater and got here. And so I realized that the trajectory of my life and my career, were very much because of Greg. I had no regrets. Trust me, I love the trajectory of my life, but it was just, I zigged when I expected to zag because of Greg.
that's great. And I know he's looking down on you and he's still very proud of all you're accomplished and all you're accomplishing now.
Well, I'd like to think so. I definitely would like to think so. But I'm so thrilled about this launch. I'm so thrilled about this launch and being able to do this. As I said, the joke was much better than a biplane. So we're thrilled, the family's thrilled about it.
I am too. And I'm so excited to hear more about it as it happens. And are you working on any other things now, Sharon?
Well, I am, but not in special effects. I left special effects a long time ago, segued into television, and then and then radio, and for the last several years, I and my producing partner have been developing a film project, which we just attached our actress for the lead role. So we're pretty excited. We're pretty excited about it. 12 years in the development hell, and we're finally there. We have a script that we love and an actress that we're blown away by, and we're really excited.
Oh wow, we're just gonna have to have you on again to talk about that when you're allowed.
Yeah, soon. If ever all goes well, we'll be shooting either in December, start shooting in either December or January. So it's very close now.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I'm
Very,
so
yeah, we're
happy for
very
you.
excited. It has
Congratulations.
nothing to do with special effects, or it's a kind of sort of a next chapter of Hoosiers meets The Blind Side, sort of, but it's about a true woman, a
Ooh.
real woman who literally changed the trajectory of the NBA unknowing to
Oh,
her.
okay, okay. That's amazing.
So,
I love stories like that. So I definitely
I
have
love
to have you back.
stories about women. I love stories about women because the men will all, though the men, there are statues to those players all over the place, as there should be. And the NBA they've got the men in the Hall of Fame who all deserve to be there. But there was this one woman who made it possible for the men who literally formed the backbone of the NBA. She took them in and they went on to change the whole sport. So there you go. That's my pitch.
I am so excited about that. And where can you follow your social media so we can continue to follow this and your career and everything else that you're doing?
You know what? I don't.
You don't?
Terry and I
Okay.
don't know. And at one point we had a Facebook page and we hired someone to do it. And then it's sort of, and then because we were in development hell for so long,
Right,
we
right,
took it
right.
down because at some point, but once the whole thing is cast and we're ready to go, we'll do it again. But for right now, you know, this sounds terrible, but I don't even have time for the people I like. I know that sounds terrible, but for right now, we have to just hone in on getting this financing done and casting it, and then we will shout it from the rooftops. I promise.
All right. I'm so excited for you. And thank you for taking
Thank
the
you.
time today. I appreciate you. And I cannot wait to hear everything that's happening.
Well, I can't wait to tell you, but I have to. So, but thank you for having me. I love talking about Greg, and I have to say that I am so gratified, grateful, stunned by the response for Greg's passing, because I had no idea that he had the following he did. I just loved him as a person, and his family is this wonderful family who adopted me. And the fact that it's had such an outpouring of reaction is just stunning to me, and it makes me feel so grateful to the people who loved him.
That is wonderful. And I'm sure they love you as much as you love them. And now I am a huge fan of yours, and you're
Ah,
such an
you're a
inspiration. So,
cheap date, Sammy. Thank you.
well, thank
Thank-
you. We'll talk again soon. Okay.
Okay, thanks so
Thank you.
much.
You're
All
welcome. Bye
right.
bye.
Okay. Do you take care?
Bye.